So then now that we've heard a little bit about the system, let's see what it could actually do. So first, the officers are going to go on the tablet and connect with username and password, and then they're going to choose the facility where they're going to work the day. So either the bridge or the tunnel, and then they're going to begin reporting the collision. So if they don't have Wi-Fi, they're going to choose from these drop-down lists that are populated by AuraPlayer from the back-end form system. Of course, this is all done without any redevelopment of the original form system. If they do have Wi-Fi, their location will show up on the map. And as you can see, they have the same user experience as if they would be on a clipboard. So they use what's called an S Pen, which it actually translates their handwriting into text. So it goes directly into the fields, and they step through the same process as they would, logging all of the accident, the progression of the accident, but it allows them to enrich their existing application with the device-aware features, such as taking photos of the crash. And not only are they taking photos of the crash, but they could actually annotate those photos to add things like the progression of the crash and notes. So this allows them to eliminate the need to write out the whole story of the crash, but actually to take photos of pertinent documents and the progression of the crash to write it later. Now it is saved on the device. That's why the row is red. And if they want to sync it back to the form system, they simply click Sync from the menu. And this will actually try to sync it back to the application, the original form system, to save it back. This is all done, of course, automated through AuraPlayer and through Oracle's mobile cloud service. When we do that, we see that an Oracle Forms error message has popped up. Please enter a plaza lane. So we see that the same validations that occur in the form system on the back end are now showing on the mobile app. Because the collision occurred on a toll plaza, the officer forgot to enter the plaza lane. So this has to be rectified before it can be saved into the back office system. So we simply go into the row, we edit, we see the row is turned yellow, indicating there's an error. We go into the plaza lane field, and we simply enter the plaza lane, and then resave the field. So this row is now being saved on the actual device because it is a fully offline capable functionality. And now when we try to sync the record, we see that the collision has synced successfully. So now you saw it, the MTA application, how we're able to run a fully functional Oracle Forms application on the tablet, but it synchronizes 100% with the back office Forms application without any redevelopment, including all the Oracle Forms error messages.
So here we are logged into Oracle Mobile Cloud Service, and let's take a look at some of the analytic events that we've captured from the MTA mobile application. This will give us some insight into how the application is being used. Let's first of all look at what mobile API calls are being made. So it looks like we have a couple of peaks as to when our APIs are being called, but these are all within limits. And I wonder if the number of API calls is affecting the response times. Looks like we'll have a slight spike in the API response times, but again it's all generally within limits. Let's now have a look at application-specific events that we're logging. This application has two custom events that we are tracking, and those are whether the sync of data back to the Oracle Forms application failed or succeeded. So here we can see we have a sync event occurred, and we can group those by facility. Looks like Frog's Neck Bridge has a few incidents lately. Let's now look at where a sync of data back to the Forms system has failed, and again we'll group this by facility. Now, it looks like there are quite a few sync failures at the Bronx Whitestone facility, and I wonder if that maybe is down to maybe a poor signal in the area. Well, we can actually look at the reason for that failure, and in fact the main reason the synchronization is failing is the officer has not entered information about the plaza lane. And if you remember in the mobile app demo, we missed out that field. So we might draw a conclusion that we could make some improvements to the mobile app to ensure that officers do enter that data into that field.
Hello, in this session I'm going to show how to expose Oracle Forms business process into a web service. So first we're going to log in into AuraPlayer's Service Manager, and now I'm going to create a web service. I will have to put the name of the web service, get customer details, demo, and here I would enter the URL of the form, the full URL of the form. I'll click on begin, and then I have to, the form would be opened, and I would have to do the business process on the form. I don't need to know how the form works on the background. I don't need to know what's the FMB, etc. I just need to know what's the business process that I want to expose and what are the input parameters and output parameters. Every field that I would enter in the form that I would set would become an input field for the web service. And as you can see here, we entered username and password. Both would become input parameters in the web service. And let's also perform action 203. We will record keystrokes, button press, menu items, etc. Now regarding the output parameters, the web service has input and output parameters. So every field that I'll click on and I focus on will become output parameter. If I want the entire form or all the fields in the form to become output parameters, I should click on this button, which is expose, which will capture all the parameters and make them output fields. Now there are fields, you see here there is a table. If I want to see all the items in the table and not just the visible one, the last action should be page down. Once I'm done, I'll click on save and exit, and that would create the web service itself. As you can see, we have here the service name, the URL of the form. We can record on one server and play back on another. We can see the input parameters, and with the default values, the recorded values, we can delete them and keep them empty, all those fields. For this demo, I'll keep those values. And we can see the output parameters. The output parameters are the ones that we selected, all the fields in the last form. Now we can see here that they are the orders, and we want them to be presented as a list because they were in the table. So I'll just click on set this checkbox, which is multi-record, and those fields are the order fields. Okay. And in the advanced field, we can set the number of rows that we want to expect, 20 or more, that 20 is default, and use JSON or XML, the default response. What would be the default response? Now let's test the web service. When we test it, we can use any field or any input parameters that we would want. The first test would be with the recorded one, and we can see the details of 203, customer ID 203. We can see the city, we can see the name, and all the orders of that customer. Let's enter another customer, 205, and click on test, and we can see different details for that customer. After that, I'm going to try entering a non-existing customer and see how the form would behave. And we can see that we get the form error. Query caused no records to be retrieved, and all the output fields are empty. Now I'm going to enter also non-valid characters to the ID instead of numbers. Characters, you can see here invalid number and example record. So we can see that we trigger all the validations and the events from the form.